Something unusual has been happening, and the more I dig into it, the harder it is to ignore. Ordinary people, using nothing more than their phones or home cameras, are capturing moments that don't seem to fit into the world we know. It's not about shaky videos or cheap tricks. These clips hold details that make you stop and think twice. A chair sliding across the room without a single hand on it. A shadow that seems to move against the light. A whisper caught on audio when no one was speaking. The strange part isn't just the events themselves, but the consistency. Different people in different countries at different times, capturing nearly identical phenomena. Some call it coincidence. Others suggest it's proof of something larger, something we were never meant to see. One particular case stuck with me. A man in Texas set up a camera after his dog wouldn't stop barking at the same corner of his living room every night. When he checked the footage, he didn't just see the dog pacing. He saw a faint outline, like a figure standing still, almost watching. The next night, the same thing happened, only this time the outline seemed closer. He claims he eventually moved out of the house. And it doesn't stop there. Another clip from a woman in Argentina shows her child pointing to an empty hallway, laughing, and calling out a name the family swears no one has ever spoken before. Her husband brushed it off as imagination until hallway lights started flickering and their security camera captured a dark shape moving past the door. Now, whether these clips are staged or genuine, that's for you to decide. But when patterns like this start to appear across different stories, across different places, the question becomes harder to dismiss. Could it really be happening everywhere at once? The temperature in the room begins to shift. At first, it's subtle, just a prickling sensation along her skin, like someone walking too close in a crowded room. But then it intensifies, suffocating, almost tangible. The sheet that once felt harmless now clings to her, cold in some areas, warm in others, as though the shadows themselves are breathing on her. Every fiber seems alive, twisting around her without permission. A faint whisper brushes against the edge of her hearing. Not words, not language, but a sound that makes the hair on her arm stand on end. She stirs slightly, her eyelids fluttering, but sleep drags her back under its heavy blanket, deeper into vulnerability. The room seems to stretch, elongating in impossible ways. Corners darkening as if to hide what waits. From a hallway, a soft tapping begins, like fingernails grazing the walls. Rhythmic, patient, growing louder with each passing second. The shadows along the walls thicken and shift toward the bed, pooling into shapes that defy logic. One moment, it's nothing but a smudge in the corner. The next, it's a figure, tall, silent, watching every twitch, every breath. Her phone vibrates on the nightstand, though she hasn't set an alarm. The screen lights up with a single word, leave. But the letters twist and distort before her eyes, crawling across the glass like liquid fire. And just as quickly as it appeared, it's gone, leaving only the faint echo of a heartbeat. Not hers, not human, but something else entirely, pounding through the room with terrifying insistence. The floorboards groan as if under the weight of something moving just beneath. She shifts again, and the sheet tightens in response, dragging at her like it is memory, like it remembers every time she has ever felt fear. The chair scratches across the floor once more, circling the room now, as if mapping out a pattern she cannot see, but is expected to follow. A faint scent of smoke wafts through the room, yet there is no fire. It burns her nose, acrid and unnatural, making her cough silently in her sleep. Shadows pulse in sync with her shallow breaths, growing closer, coiling around her bedpost like snakes. Then, from nowhere, the mirror across the room fogs over. Figures appear within it. Not reflections, but things standing behind the glass, watching her sleep. Their shapes ripple and distort, impossible to identify, yet undeniably aware of her presence. And as the fog slowly clears, the first sound of a whisper becomes a chorus, filling every corner of the room, circling her, chanting in a language older than memory. The bed shakes, gently at first, then with increasing force, as though the floor itself has become alive. She doesn't wake, but the sensation of falling never leaves her. The walls seem to lean in, closing the room into a perfect circle, trapping her between the darkness above and below. Every shadow pulses with intent. Every sound is magnified. Every second stretches into infinity. The salons begin to move independently now, slithering across the walls with a fluidity that defies reality. They stretch and twist, growing taller, thinner, denser, forming shapes that almost resemble faces, but in war before you can focus. The red dips slightly under her weight, though no one touches it, and the sheet continues to wrap around her like a living thing, continual movement, warning in the next. The room itself seems aware of her every movement, adjusting, breathing, waiting. A low humming begins to vibrate through the floor, a sound so that it resonates in her bones. It grows louder, steady, like the rhythm of a heartbeat, but not hers. Somewhere in the dark, a door cracks open, then slams shut repeatedly, faster and faster, echoing through the hallways of the house. She shifts slightly, her fingers twitching, and the whispering intensifies, circling her like a swarm of invisible insects. The child continues its slow orbit around the room, scratching the floor in patterns that are almost indeliberate, almost like a message she cannot understand. Dust rises in fun clouds around it, floating unnaturally in shapes that vanish before she can process them. The air thickens, the smell of smoke and something metallic mingling, filling her lungs even as she sleeps, forcing her body to react, though her mind remains trapped in a fog dream. Suddenly, the temperature drops, ease forming along her skin despite the suffocating air she felt moments before. Frost creeps along the edges of the bed, forming intricate patterns that seem alive, as though the barrier has turned against her. Shadows gather at the corners, forming a circle that slowly tightens around the bed. She does not quack, but her body instinctively carries inward, sensing the invisible weight pressing down from every direction. From above, a faint scratching begins against the ceiling. It moves across the room, slow at first, then faster, erratic, as though something larger is passing, planning, stoking. The whispering escalates into a chorus, layered and chaotic, overlapping in a way that makes it impossible to identify where it comes from. Shapes begin to appear on the walls, figures of her own reflection, twisted and distorted, stretching and grinning in unnatural guise. A mirror across the room severs, then cracks, and within its fractured surface, more faces appear. Eyes stare directly at her, hollow and unblinking, mouths opening in silent screams. They move, reaching through the cracks, inching closer with terrifying purpose. The sheet tightens once more, now almost suffocating, pulling her body slightly off the mattress, as if something beneath is trying to clamp her completely. The room beneath her feet grows into a vibration that shakes the bed from, rattles the walls, and seems to synchronize with her own heartbeat. It's impossible to tell if she's dreaming or what. Every instinct tells her danger is near, yet she cannot rise, cannot move, trapped by the invisible forces around her. The darkness itself seems to pulse, alive with intent, and every shadow stretches toward her, along the thin, converging. The smell of smoke grows stronger, acrid and choking, yet no flames are visible. Then a soft, wet sound begins from the corner of the room, like dripping water, but heavier, slower, more deliberate, airs drop echoing in the silence. The floorboards grow an under unseen weight, and the whispering voices reach a crescendo, overlapping into a single, chilling phrase that resonates inside her skull.